Did we get that one right, by the way?
It does not look like it.
That's a fantastic
But
question.
it could be one for much later, so who fucking knows? Alright.
We'll find out.
Because this thing makes me not confident anymore. Compared to the first. Things have finally winded down for the day when I make my way back to my bedroom. I'm almost there when I stop, seeing two familiar faces. Oh, Lucette!
Good evening, Princess Lucette.
Both Emmeline and Lance smile at me. Hello, Emmeline. Hello, Lance. I glance between the two of them, curious. Are the two of you on some nighttime stroll? Oh no, Prince Lance was assisting me with a dance lesson. A dance lesson?
Yeah, it was.
Normally, Rod helps me with dancing, but since we've been learning a Burgundian style dance this week, I had Lance assist me instead.
In exchange for the extra dance lessons, Emmeline has been helping me with some other things. Also, I'm pretty sure your brother wants me dead.
Other things.
I just can't think of why.
Are you heading back now? I am. I saw Klaude pass by earlier. He seemed in better spirits than before. Lance's expression darkens at the mention of his brother.
Karma.
Emmeline looks at him, curious. Oh, right. You have a challenge with him in a few days. It seems that they figured out in time then. Lance narrows his eyes.
I will destroy him. Wow!
Oh my.
Well.
And here I thought Rod and I were competitive. Anyway, we're going to head out now. Good night, Lucette. The two of them pass me by, and I continue on my way to my bedroom. The first thing I see upon entering the room is Klaude, standing from the wardrobe, looking deep in thought.
That's appropriate.
He mumbles lightly and casts a glance over his shoulder at me as I enter.
What? No knock?
Not when this is my room, no. He pauses briefly, his eyes fixed on me for some reason. Without even realizing it, I grasp the pendant at my neck. What? Is there something on my face?
I just noticed you were wearing the necklace.
My fingers loosen around the pendant. Why wouldn't I be wearing it? It's become my most valuable possession after all. I can see the recognition in Claude's eyes when I laugh. He glances again at the necklace, eyes soft.
I'm glad I could get you something you can always wear around. As for me...
He returns his attention to the closet. Looking for something?
Yes, one of my nightshirts.
He sighs as he squints into the wardrobe. I already know what shirt he's looking for. I'm amazed that he's not already found it, considering I spotted it on the bed. I slowly inch my way towards the shirt as he closes the closet doors. I manage to grab and hide it behind my back just as he turns around.
Jerk, why does she like this?
Lucette, have you seen...
He stops when he notices the way I'm standing against the bed. Slowly, he makes his way over to me, a casual smile on his face.
I wonder where it could be.
He stops right in front of me, and then, without any words at all, attempts to grab the shirt from behind me. I dodge all the way just in time and circle the bed to put some distance between us. He raises an eyebrow.
What's this? Are we playing some kind of game now?
A game? This is no game. I've just been getting back at you for keeping secrets from me. Try my best to frown at him, but to no avail. The smile keeps coming back to my lips no matter how much I try to force it off. Perhaps if you ask me very nicely for the shirt, I will return it. Klaude takes a step forward and lays a hand on his chest.
Lucette, my love, could you please return my shirt?
Dramatics aside, I cannot help but cave beneath his pleading gaze. I'm about to hand the shirt to him when he reaches forward and in one swift motion snatches it straight out of my hands. Hey! Klaude shrugs off his coat with a coy smile.
You should know better than to let your guard down in front of me, darling.
He turns his back to me as he pulls off his shirt and reaches for the other one. Let my guard down in front of him? Hardly. I approach him swiftly, and before he can react, push him down to the bed. He only has a few moments to stare at me, baffled, before I pin him down. Who's letting their guard down now?
Are you sure I didn't let my guard down on purpose?
I roll my eyes at him when he grins, and then lean down to plant a kiss on his lips. I loosen my grip on his wrist, but not enough so that I can lace them through his fingers. Wait, only enough. Before I realize it, I'm lying beside him rather than looming above him.
If I'm being honest, I much prefer this to you putting me down to the bed.
Why? Does your self-esteem crumble when I get the better of you?
Still sharp as a knight's blade, I see.
Sharper than you, in any case. Klaude opens his mouth to say something, but I don't give him the chance to retort. I seal his lips with a kiss. He pulls me closer and brushes a finger against my lips.
It truly is impressive that you always manage such sharp words, even in moments like these. I have to admit that you have the better comebacks.
Are you actually admitting that I'm better than you at something?
I have to give you credit where credit is due.
He draws closer to me and sets his hand on the small of my back. His lips are once again brushing mine. That's a typo. Or did I read it wrong? His lips once again brush mine. No, I read it wrong.
That's correct.
Okay. I can feel the heat rise to my cheeks, and fearing that I'm blushing, quickly bury my head in Klaude's chest so he could not see my face. I can feel his laugh reverberate through my body.
Your embarrassment is endearing, Lucette. You realize you do this to yourself, though.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
You remember last time you set up the rose bath for me? And then I threw a towel at me and screamed when I insisted you join me?
Why would you bring that up again?
Because seeing your blushing smile is a precious thing.
He puts a hand to my face and tilts my head upward gently. His lips are already parted when they meet mine. They're all I can focus on. I barely notice when Klaude runs his hand down the small of my back, his lips still pressed to mine. He breaks the kiss and trails his lips down the side of my neck. I can feel his warm breath in my ear when he whispers.
Well, I'm assuming you pushed me down for a reason?
My heartbeat is too loud for me to even process my whirling thoughts. I decide to let my retort go when Klaude presses his lips to mine again, sending a shiver of warmth down my head to the rest of my body.
Okay, can we just bring up the fact that they had an entire scene about him getting his shirt back that he didn't bother to put on?
Yep. The burn
I'm
on my
sorry, I couldn't
In
stop
in
thinking
his
about
defense, he was a little distracted.
Lucette wins this round. Alright, the burden of my responsibility falls
Oh.
away from my body that night. All that remains as I fall into the comforting silence is Claude's warmth and his gentle breath at my neck. Ding dong! Chapter 5. The Princess and their Prince. We're almost done. I think we have one more chapter because it's been 6 chapters, right? Every time.
that.
Sure.
Speaking of sex,
Hey!
Your main character.
Yes, we're back to normality.
Oh, good.
A council made up entirely of witches,
Delora looks thoughtfully as she pulls a mug of hot chocolate towards her. Parfait is seated beside her. It's been a while since that structure was implemented here. It's been a few days since Klaude and I officially suggested the idea of a council of witches to the king. Klaude and I have been discussing the idea ever since we met with him. Today, after cementing the details of the idea, we came to discuss the proposal of Delora and Waltz.
It'll be nice to have some structure for a change. It was just Hilder calling the shots during the war. Very one-sided, let me tell you.
Obey or get blown up. Not hard to figure out.
At the end of the day, your word is law. But who can object to special meetings? I'm sure the other witches will love the idea. Oh. What?
I think that's supposed to say all of us.
Yeah, all of us are. Oh, that's a typo.
All us are.
I thought I was having a stroke. Okay. All of us are very
And
fond of
both
sharing.
having drunk.
I look
Sharing our opinions, after all.
I look pointedly at Delora. Some more than others. Laura crosses her arms and snorts.
I could say the same about you, princess.
That smug face.
I love Delora's smug face. I need to get a sticker of Delora and just slap it on the water bottle or something.
That would be amazing.
So, what inspired the idea? Claude, who had been standing idly by the bar speaking with Anise and Waltz, turned to look at Parfait.
Oh, Jesus.
Have fun. Oh, it's beginning.
She gets to talk to herself and me.
Okay, alright. Okay. Lucette and I see how biased the humans' counselors' opinions can be. It doesn't make sense to rely solely on them. We thought a council of witches would be able to represent some of the more subdued voices in Angeli. You can.
Welcome to my world.
You came to a conclusion, Princeling. What do you think, Waltz?
Yay, Willie finally gets to
I get to
read
say
things.
Oh my
something.
god, you get to talk.
Woo!
Damn it.
Waltz, I'm
Waltz
waiting for
the
the text.
big.
Waltz just shakes his head and says nothing.
Waltz sighs
I'm
and
a
waves at
little
Delora to continue.
I'm a little hopeful.
Waltz, who's been busy helping Anise with dishes, looks up and smiles.
It would mean more representation from the witches in the government, wouldn't it? I could never disagree with that. Either way, I would trust Lucette's opinion on anything.
And what of my opinion?
He looks like he's plotting.
I'll
Waltz-
think about it.
Waltz surveys Klaude with a mischievous smile.
Well, I suppose for someone who's kid-sized, you're pretty reliable.
Kid-sized? I assure you that you are still far more child than I am.
I am taller and older than you, you know.
And you also spend your days playing hide-and-seek with children and putting on magic show.
Waltz laughs.
Better to be an oversized child than a kid-sized one. Accurate.
Parfait clears her throat and the two men stop to look at her.
Oh.
Anyway, I hope you'll explain the importance of this idea to Cinna when he visits. He's been saying lately he can't stand to attend meetings with the other fairies. Laura grins.
What? Is he calling them useless again?
Yes.
Actually, he calls them irritating. I think maybe he could learn a thing or two from Lucette's dedication to teamwork.
Cinna would scream if he heard you say that.
Cinnamon is Parfait's blood-related cousin. He's apparently the best candidate for succeeding her as the Lucius Bearer, despite his young age. Lately, Parfait has been taking him to meetings to teach him more about the Bearer's responsibilities. I have met him a few times, and he is temperamental. Well, at least he's still a child. She casts a fond smile at Klaude and Waltz. Thankfully, more of a child than the two of you are.
I doubt that.
I'm not sure whether to be offended or not.
Yes.
Laura smirks and shakes her head.
There it is.
Well, ignoring our cinnamon problem.
She glances between Klaude and I.
You two can rest assured that we'll start looking into setting this up properly.
She turns to Klaude and raises an eyebrow.
Sometimes, Prince, you manage to surprise me. I thought you were lazy, but you're actually quite diligent. I definitely take offense to that.
The room erupts into laughter. Even the niece, who's been busy in her work, stops to beam at us. As our conversation is drawing to a close, I glance at the clock and notice the time. I recall that we're supposed to meet with Lance soon. We should probably get going now. Klaude has important matters to attend to today.
Do I? I don't seem to recall.
He stops speaking when I glare at him. Perhaps you need to try a little harder to remember then. Klaude only sighs when I grab his arm and pull him out the door of the marching in the direction of the challenge venue.
Oh shit, we're doing this already. Sweet.
The two of us are barely made it a few steps into the main plaza when I turn to look at Klaude, eyebrows raised. Is there a reason your footsteps are so heavy and slow? So you don't. My eyes stopped working. You don't really mean to annoy Lance even more, do you?
Of course I do. Don't you purposefully try to get your sibling's nerves sometimes?
Yes.
Oh, love, you're no fun. He inconvenienced me when he came to Angeli early, so it's only right that I get back at him by showing up to his challenge late.
Shouldn't you be the bigger person and...
He may have a good point.
Oh, Lucette, look.
Oh, what a surprise. She doesn't know how to sibling.
He abruptly taps my shoulder and points at the stand selling familiar cupcakes. We have already been to this place on multiple occasions. The moment the stall owner sees us looking, he raises a hand in greeting and beams.
What say we make a quick stopover for a cupcake first?
As always, he just loves to change the subject.
It's like half the fun.
Are you sure that's a good idea? You might not be able to concentrate after eating so much sugar. Nonsense. Sugar can never ruin my concentration. I feel like if he's
All
so
the more reason
insistent,
now.
if he's so insistent on being slow and late, stop for the cupcake.
Stop for the cupcake is the single, like... That's like the worst choice to
That's
put
the
on a
best.
screen. No, like, who... Like, how do you... Like, that's such mean bait. Like, it's a cupcake, man. Who wouldn't?
All the more reason.
That's what I'm saying. That choice is evil.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, they're already late.
He's like being insistent on slowing down, and he's also being cocky about the sugar. So I mean, if we stop for a cupcake, prove a point, maybe he'll be like, "Oh, thanks for giving in." Then later he'll be like, "Oh, you were right."
I mean, it could mess him up.
Gives Lance a fighting shot.
Does?
I mean, something has to. I'm pretty sure he's gonna get wrecked. I'm pretty sure even sugar high Klaude could still take him down.
Okay, so I'm leaning to stop for the cupcake. What are you guys thinking?
I say cupcake.
Okay,
Cupcake!
3 cupcakes. Willie,
I
even though you're outnumbered.
thought I
in
already gave my
things.
answer of give this man a cupcake.
Okay,
Ah.
unison. Cupcake time.
Cake.
Yours, Saint Lucette.
He takes my
Watch
hand.
that be the wrong answer.
Damn. It's because there was no chameleon on a cupcake. He takes my hand and
Always
begins
what
to
it is.
hum as we make our way to the dessert stand. Not desert stand, dessert.
No, it's a
Klaude ends
desert
up
stand, no.
Klaude ends up by selecting a delicately shaped rose cupcake. He asks me if I want one, but I decline the offer. As always, he spends more time than necessary on this. I'm beginning to wonder if we should just have ignored the stain altogether, when I pause, distracted by Klaude murmuring.
Maybe he would like this one? Or this one?
Oh, is he gonna buy his brother a cupcake? That's so sweet. What are you doing?
Looking for a cupcake for Lance, of course. It'll be a peace offering and a consolation prize when he loses. My brother has an insatiable sweet tooth, you see.
Just like Klaude, it seems. Klaude eventually selects a small cupcake topped with a gold-red butterfly. He says it's an account of the cupcake's cherry flavor. Apparently, this is Lance's favorite. We both have cupcakes carefully packed away before we make our way back to the palace. Much to my relief, Klaude refuses to eat his own cupcake, if only because he does not have a knife and fork to do so. Eventually, the two of us reach our destination. Garland stands in the usual forest clearing where we all have our practices. Seated beside him on a tree stump is Lance.
Yeah, my boy.
Two of them are engaged in conversation when we arrive.
Oh, okay, apparently I'm doing it now. My turn.
You give yourself love advice.
Right? Why don't you just ask her now, Sir Garland?
Garland sighs, looking downtrodden.
Because Jury and I are both so preoccupied with the security plans for Princess Lucette and Prince Claude's wedding. But asking her a simple question wouldn't interfere with your plans any, would it? I want my proposal to be special.
Oh, are we discussing the marriage proposal that has yet to happen?
Fucker, just stick your nose into this, why don't you?
And in the next line, he's gonna be the one that they're visiting after practice with Jurian and Lucette. Not Fritz. Okay. Lance and Garland both look up when they enter the forest. Klaude passes them by to set whatever things we had been carrying down by the forest trees.
You're late.
My apologies. Lucette and I were at the March-In discussing an important proposal with two witches. Now.
He turns to regard Lance somberly.
Are you prepared, Lucette?
Wrong person.
What?
This is Lance.
Oh. Are you prepared, Lance?
Sword fight your fiance instead.
Plot twist!
I apparently only look at the first letter of names.
That is catching you off guard so much tonight.
Just the first letter is just...
Of course.
Garland takes his place between both men, handing them their practice swords as he realizes the rules of the match. I settle myself in the nearby tree stump and absently move to pick up the remaining practice sword.
This gonna be good.
It's been a long time since I used a practice sword, almost a whole year. I cannot help but recall my first practice sessions with Klaude when I hold this sword in my hand. I'm jolted from my reverie by the sound of clashing blades. I glance up in time to see Klaude effortlessly slide his sword past Lance's. He then dodges gracefully as Lance takes a quick stab at his side. It's not difficult for me to see the gap in skill. It becomes more and more apparent that Klaude is not even trying, while Lance seems to be exerting too much effort with every motion. The longer the match goes on without a single hit, the more certain I become that Klaude is just toying with his brother. He has many chances to land a hit on Lance, but he never does. Much to my surprise, even Lance seems to realize this.
I hope you're not holding back because you feel pity for me.
Dude, this thing would have been over in 2 seconds if it wasn't. His words are filled with contempt. Claude's only response is a smug smile. Lance rushes Klaude again, but the attempt is clumsy. He nearly stumbles past him and right into a tree. Klaude takes a few steps back, still smiling.
Why is that idiot smile plastered to your face?
Oh my, you seem out of sorts, Lance.
Says the man who instigated this mess in the first place.
Lance rushes at him again. This time, Klaude holds out his sword to block him. The blades collide and both men grunt. Klaude moves his sword first, feigning in a quick circle, and then stepping back until he's behind his brother. He lands a hit on Lance's shoulder.
One.
Lance turns on him so suddenly when Klaude cannot step back in time. He hits Klaude square in the chest, causing him to stumble back.
Oh, damn.
The anger on Lance's face is palpable enough that it makes his cheeks flush. Much to my surprise, Klaude just laughs.
Typical llama.
The fight continues after that. This time, Klaude does not falter when he gets an opening. He's able to tap Lance 2 more times in the shoulder without suffering any more hits from his. Garland calls out the end of the match once Klaude lands his last hit. Much to everyone's surprise, Lance does not relent. He comes at his brother again, and Claude's only able to hold his sword up in time because of the distance between them.
What's this? The match is over, Lance? Or would you like to do 3 more points? I assure you that I will win in the end, regardless. This time I'll do it without even trying. It will be less painful for you that way.
Lance's face flushes a vivid, angry crimson.
Doing that.
Klaude grunts as he throws his brother's sword off him. He takes a step back, but does not respond.
Looking down on me and gloating. You wear that smug smile on your face now, but get angry at me when I'm struggling. Make matters worse, you refuse to help me, but still call me weak when I try to do things on my own. You are an insufferable, walking contradiction, brother. And this is what he was talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Got him to open up.
Before any of us can react, Lance is already charging at Klaude again, sword raised. I move completely on instinct, holding out my hand to cast a spell just as Lance's sword cuts through the air. Lance's arm freezes in place moments before his blade connects with Claude's shoulder. His arms, now encased in a thin sheen of ice, are motionless. I step from my spot with a frown. The match is over, Lance. The moment I release the spell, the blade falls from Lance's hands and lands with a thump on the ground. Without the sword, Lance suddenly looks craven. He takes a step back, his expression a mixture of guilt and sadness.
Apologize.
He's silent for a time after that. Both Garland and Klaude stare at him, on edge. They only relax when Lance sighs out and holds up his hands.
I concede. You win, Klaude.
He turns on his heels and begins to walk away without another word. Klaude and Garland both watch him go quietly, not saying anything until he's out of the area.
What was that?
Llama's true feelings. He has a habit of not showing them until he's angry. This has always been how I've gotten him to speak with me. Before, I was the same way. I held my secrets close until I had them provoked out of me.
Klaude looks at his brothers disappearing back a little sadly.
I'd like to think I've changed since then, but Lance...
He shrugs his shoulders. Should we go after him?
If
you said anything, you cut out.
Ah, crap. Is that wise?
Most likely not.
All the more reason.
Usually when Lance walks off like this, he needs time for himself to reflect.
And what happens when you follow him?
Messy shit.
He thinks I'm trying to antagonize him.
Same difference. I stare after Lance's retreating figure with reluctance. I told Klaude yesterday that sharing one's emotions was the first step to solving one's problems. I just can't leave Lance alone like this. Be as it may, I'm still worried about him. Maybe he'll speak to me. I'll go after him, and when you're ready to talk to him, you can come find us.
Fine. I'll help Garland pack everything up and then follow.
He pauses to glance back at me once.
Oh, and darling, thank you for stepping in. I might have suffered a bruised shoulder had you not.
He and Garland begin to pack up, and I see it's my sign to chase after Lance.
I miss him already.
After questioning some of the nearby servants, I'm able to pinpoint Lance's location at the palace gates. I make my way there and find him standing close to the gate with his gaze upturned. He's staring at the sky vacantly. He looks up when I approach, his eyes glaring with guilt. He quickly turns away. Hello, Lance. His response is a small, sheepish smile.
I apologize for my behavior. It was not very dignified, was it?
I believe that Klaude only antagonized Lance so he could tell him how he truly felt, but also question whether or not he knows how to handle these matters. I say dismiss the apology. Because he was provoked unknowingly.
Yeah,
Technically.
okay. That's fair. At this, like, I mean, there's a case for scolding because he still isn't really handling this very well.
Yeah,
but,
but technically his brother was trying to rile him up on purpose to get that reaction, so he was kind of
Yeah,
manipulated
so
into acting like that.
yeah, it wasn't entirely his fault. Yeah. And the only argument I can make for scolding is he's probably never been scolded for this. So it's one of those things you do have to rip the Band-Aid off sooner or later, but now may not be the time.
Now is not the time.
Yeah. I can go for dismiss. Also, I don't think we got that last one right anyway.
Yeah, whatever. Well, he might show up with a cupcake later, so we don't know yet, because it took forever for that one.
That's true. Oh yeah, the cupcake hasn't come up.
Yeah. Okay, Abby, Willie, what do you guys think?
I'm cool with dismiss just to make it official on my end.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm good with that.
Okay, unanimous once again. You don't need to apologize, Lance. I think more than anything, everyone is just worried about you.
Oh?
Well, it doesn't seem very like you to so suddenly lash out at people.
This has always been how Klaude and I solve our problem.
Terribly.
Not very sensible, is it?
No, but I do not think people will hold it against you. I just think that them seeing you so uncharacteristically angry would make them worried. Lance sighs.
It's never my intention to worry other people. That's why I prefer to say nothing at all. And yet the Brigantian blood running through my veins compels me to challenge my brother when I'm annoyed with him. He knows exactly how to push my buttons.
I still believe that if you have a problem with your brother, you ought to tell him outright. It will only cause everyone else to worry if you hide things. Klaude definitely worries me when he keeps secrets. Lance looks about ready to say something, but then I notice him looking past my shoulder. He quickly diverts his eyes.
What's this? I could have sworn a conversation was happening here, but now all I hear is crickets.
What did you come here for? To scold me?
Since Lucette has already spoken with you, I came here not to talk, but to apologize.
You apologize to me?
You make me sound like a heartless cretin, Lance. And after all the trouble I went through to bring you an apology gift.
He holds up the small bag that he had been holding at his side to Lance. I recognize it immediately, and I'm not surprised when Lance takes a small cupcake out of it.
This is
A cupcake. It has a cherry filling, you know.
Oh my god, the cupcake was the right answer. See? Always trust the cupcakes.
Lance stares at the cupcake owlishly. Owlishly. We're gonna pretend, I don't know. We're gonna pretend I said in the way that satisfied me the first time, and I'm gonna push on. For a few moments, I think he might return it to the bag, but then he holds it up and takes a hefty bite out of it, smiling.
Cherries are God's gift to humanity.
Claude's lips twitch into a mischievous smile. He glances at me and winks.
You see, darling, I told my brother, is weak to cherry.
I am not.
Lance stuffs the half-eaten cupcake into the bag, cheeks flushed. He clears his throat.
Wait, why did you buy me a cupcake at all?
It's a peace offering.
Lance considers the cupcake for a few moments, looking thoughtful.
Consider the cupcake. Well then, maybe you're not heartless, but you certainly can act it sometimes with how condescending and demeaning you are.
Yes, and for that I apologize. Such is the manifestation of my jealousy.
Jealousy? You're jealous of me?
For a few moments, Lance looks surprised, but then he sighs.
Why would you be jealous of me?
Sometimes, Llama, you can be extremely obtuse. Do I really need to explain it to you? You call me perfect, but have you ever stopped to look at the people around you? They adore you.
I don't understand. You're living a fairy tale, Klaude, and meanwhile, I'm still living in your shadow. Without you and Brigantia, I'm set for nothing but failure.
Claude frowns at his brother.
Maybe I should retract my apology. This is pitiful.
Lance's eyes flash with anger.
Well, always like this. I'm honest with you and you chastise me for it.
Because the Lance I know is competitive and fierce and doesn't back away from a challenge. He is polite to others around him, but not so feeble he admits defeat to his own brother.
When Lance finally does speak, his voice is soft.
I could never do what you've done, Karma.
What?
Moving to Angiel, picking up a mantle that hadn't been handed to me.
Lance smiles, a little sadly.
After all, it's only taken your moving out of Brigantia to unravel my confidence. How do I improve if I don't have you there to challenge me? How do I know how to act if I don't have you there to be my role model?
So in the end, this whole situation is a result of Lance comparing himself to Claude, and Claude comparing himself to Lance.
What a foolish brother I have.
What?
You have the opportunity to stand toe-to-toe with me now. Before, when I had the Brigantian title, you always spoke about how incompetent a king I would be. You always said that you could do better.
Of a bitch, the ultimate competition. He's right.
Oh
Who's the
Now
better
you-
king?
Now you have the chance
God.
to prove that to my fiance and me.
Lance glances between the two of us silently. His expression of shock is so childish I cannot help but smile.
The new alliance between Angeli and Brigantia brings our two countries closer than they've ever been before. We'll both be counting on you to help us mend this gap once you take the throne. And when you do, I don't expect you to act like me. I expect you to act like yourself.
I recall the way Lance acted during his speech practices, and he told me that he was terrible in front of crowds. But Klaude has said before the two of them took speaking lessons together. Now I can see why I was so frustrated at Lance by the way he was practicing. It was because he was trying to be someone he was not, and Lance was caving beneath that pressure. Lance. Lance turns to look at me.
Princess Lucette.
I remember the time when Emmeline had stressed because she was trying to act like the other nobles. I remember the time when my whole world was mother, and I wanted so much to be just like her. So much that I did not see the world around me. So much so that I didn't even learn to form my own opinions until I stepped out of her shadow. There are certain responsibilities every king has to his people, but your words and actions should be yours and yours alone. Klaude smiles at me.
You always know how to put things so aptly, darling.
He turns back to his brother.
But yes, all I want you to realize is that we were on equal footing. I know how heavy the responsibilities of a king can be, but those responsibilities ought to be faced the way you want to face them. That is what living in Angeli has taught me. Even if those around me may have differing opinions, I can never sacrifice my own values and beliefs.
He glances at me.
Though our lovely princess here has strong opinions, we work things out together. That is what it means to be both separate and equal to someone.
Lance looks at us both thoughtfully for a few moments. The silence seems to put Klaude on edge because he looks like he's on the verge of scolding his brother again. Then suddenly, Lance laughs.
I'm happy you fell in love with my brother, Lucette. I feel like the only reason he's matured is because of you.
Oof.
Ooh.
Klaude may sometimes be
wrecked.
Klaude may sometimes be flamboyant and childish, but I feel that without him, he wouldn't have learned to be as mature either. And without him, I never would have learned this kind of happiness, this kind of love.
I guess now that he's gone, I get to prove myself.
He looks at Klaude, the competitive glint back in his eyes.
This time, I will not falter.
And those words are music to my ears, Llama.
Could you maybe not call me that? Llama isn't very sophisticated.
No, it isn't, and that's why I enjoy using it so much.
Don't worry, Lance. Klaude still refers to himself as the Chameleon Prince, and it's definitely not sophisticated at all. Klaude blushes when his brother laughs, and just like that, the tension between them evaporates. The days pass in a blur. The things should be less busy considering the circumstances. My schedule only gets tighter with the wedding so close. Klaude and I have far too many rehearsals, and my family continues to ask for my opinions about the feast that will occur afterwards. Days are more exhausting than they've been in weeks. This is the night before the wedding ceremony, and I finally have some time to myself, or at least so I think. Yet when I step in through the door, my room is not vacant. Klaude sits on the piano, playing some soft, melancholy tune. At first, he doesn't seem to notice me, and I contemplate whether or not to surprise him. Yet before I can think to do anything, he suddenly stops playing and looks at me.
Ah, Lucette, my beautiful wife. That lacks impact, doesn't it? I think I prefer my beautiful queen. What do you think?
Queen. The weight of the word is only made lighter when I consider the fact that Klaude will be sitting right beside me, but even then the thought is strange. It's hard to imagine myself ever sitting on my father's throne. I reach for the two plush toys on my bed, the Beauty and the Beast. Klaude leans against the piano with a smile. For a few moments, a soft quiet descends.
May I ask you a question, darling?
I look at him. Curious, I nod my head.
2 years ago, when you came to me for advice on how to be good, do you remember what I first said to you?
It
Oh,
was 2 years ago in the tavern, and I was still trying to understand what goodness meant. The first piece of advice that Klaude gave me pertained to, I think, kindness. Pretty sure it was kindness.
I think it was actually beauty.
Maybe.
It was. I'm pretty sure it was beauty because it was beauty because the first implication was that it was just talking about looks, but it meant like, you being like beautiful on the inside. It wasn't kindness because it sounded weird when he said it at first.
I do remember there being some sort of weird answer, and it also came to like giving compliments of some sort.
Compliments was
Yeah, that one was, yeah.
That was Rumple. Yeah, but I was
Yeah.
thinking the one time where she had to compliment Karma's lips, and that was the correct answer, even though it was fucking weird.
I'm saying beauty.
Yeah, I agree. That sounds right.
I'm kind of leaning towards that now.
Because that's all Karma talked about at the time, but it was the whole point is that it sounded like he was being vain, when in reality that's not what he was meaning at all.
I guess we'll just go with that one then.
Yeah.
Wasn't it something about being beautiful on the inside and out?
You remember?
Dang it.
It's impossible not to. You put painstaking effort into your appearance, always.
I did.
You still do. Clyde grins. That was the correct one.
Ha!
Good call,
Dang it.
darling.
Kind of hoping it'd be wrong. Would have been funnier.
Of course, but back then it was a beauty that was meant to hide the truth rather than express it. Miss Karma is my favorite disguise, you know.
You make it sound like you had more than one.
Who was to say I didn't? I did like sneaking out of the palace and avoiding my responsibilities.
He pauses for a few moments, contemplating. Then softly he sighs.
There was a time when I valued beauty above all other things, even when a witch decided to make my so-called beauty a curse.
He points at the beast plush that I have in my hands.
I never liked the Beauty and the Beast fairy tale growing up. I always thought that the witch was being too cruel to the prince, dooming him to an empty life, even if he didn't learn a hard lesson. When a witch set a similar curse upon me, I despised her. I wanted to prove that I could break her spell without changing. I never realized how much I needed to change until
His eyes fall on me.
you came along. Had I not met you, Lucette, I might have still been the same cursed man. Maybe I would have been a little wiser, but I still would be the spoiled crown prince of Brigantia.
And now, he comes to sit beside me with a smile.
The crown prince of Angeli and future husband to the loveliest lady in the realm. The most beautiful on the inside and out.
He takes the beast plush from my hands and holds it up.
So you see, just like the prince in the fairy tale, I only found my true calling when I met you, princess. And I wanted to thank you for that.
I lean my head on his shoulders with a smile. You don't need to thank me, Klaude.
Is that it? No heartwarming response, love?
I laugh as I nuzzle my head into the crook of his neck. I'm saving that for my wedding vow tomorrow. You'll have to wait patiently until then.
Rude.
I suppose I don't have a choice in that matter, do I?
He kisses the top of my head. A gentle silence falls over us after that. But it's comfortable and calming. I'm content to wrap my arms around Claude's waist and settle my head on his shoulder. Thank you, Klaude.
Yeah, I guess